Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, or if it's your first time, welcome here. I'm Sally. I'm so glad you stopped by. Today I'm going to be sharing 5 foods I eat just about every single day, pro-metabolic style. But first, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it would be a huge help if you would hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up if you like the video. That being said, if you have not heard of pro-metabolic eating, I highly encourage you to check out my last video on, or one of my last videos rather, on my pro-metabolic kind of what I eat in a day video, or to check out some of the resources I'm leaving in the description box that go into a lot more depth on the subject. I am not a nutritionist or a dietitian, so please don't take any of this as medical advice. Just know that I'm someone who's really passionate about health and well-being, has walked through just this process of figuring out how I feel best, and who hopes that in sharing this information I might be able to inspire you to look into something that ends up helping you out as well. I know that's super vague, but I have to make that disclaimer. I think that's enough of the lead-in, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop right into these 5 foods that I eat daily. I have my phone here because I have a few notes. The first food on my list is collagen. Now I know this is a food that has gotten a lot of buzz recently, and I just want to say it front, I do not buy into it for that reason, or for this idea that it's going to make your hair radiant or your skin glow. Now it may very well have that effect, especially when it's part of a bigger picture. However, my understanding is that at least last I checked a few months ago, the research is rather inconclusive on those points. But it has been shown to be really beneficial for your gut lining, and collagen, gelatin, bone broth, which is very rich in collagen and or gelatin, contain amino acids in them that are, and again, I hope I'm saying this correctly, but are less readily available in the muscle meats that we are generally eating. And if we think back historically, most of the time when someone was eating an animal, they would be eating the whole thing. So you'd be eating the organ meats, you'd be eating a lot of the tissues that we consider undesirable these days. However, in doing so, they're getting a much fuller nutrient profile than we are in just eating muscle meats. So that being said, collagen fills a little bit of that hole. How I like to use collagen is just adding a scoop of it to my coffee every morning, which is also really great because it adds a little bit of protein, and I will have it with a carbohydrate source as well. So I'm not just getting straight caffeine in my blood system, spiking my cortisol, but I have a little bit more regulation, and it's like a steadier energy that feels good throughout the day. So that's number 1. Number 2 is kind of similar, but those are gonna be my gelatin gummies. I tried making these for the first time a couple months ago, and I have fallen absolutely in love. Number 1, they're a great way to get some more of that collagen, gelatin into your body. Gelatin is simply the cooked form of collagen, and my understanding is that in terms of their amino acid profile, it's very similar, but there is still benefit in having both the collagen and gelatin forms. So I shared a video previously on my cherry lime gelatin gummies. I'm thinking of sharing an updated video on this other recipe I've been making. It's delicious. It's like a cherries and cream, but pretty much all it is some form of fruit juice with some gelatin and the other flavoring you want to add. And gelatin's also very high in protein, so you get a nice carbohydrate and protein balance. And for me, these are a fantastic way to start my day. I will take a couple or eat a couple in the morning before I have anything else, which isn't a hard and fast rule. It's just something that it's easy for me to get into my system, and something I'm really working on is making sure I am eating breakfast pretty much immediately upon waking, and also having at least some sort of food in my body before I have coffee. Again, that could be a whole nother video. But moving on to the next one, that's going to be my Adrenal Cocktail. And if you are in the pro-metabolic circles, I know you have heard about this so much, but the Adrenal Cocktail, if you don't know, is made from a source of whole food vitamin C, a source of potassium, and a source of sodium. And taking that a step even further, we have 4 macro minerals, so to say, that are foundational to just about every function in our body. And obviously there are many more vitamins and minerals that play a role, but these 4, again, really build this basis, and we need to pay attention to getting in larger quantities. That being said, those are potassium, sodium, magnesium, and calcium. So this Adrenal Cocktail takes care of the first two, the sodium and the potassium. And what I like to do for mine is I do half orange juice, half coconut water, and a pinch of salt. Make sure you're using non-iodinized salt. I use just pink Himalayan. A lot of people use the gray sea salt. There are plenty of different varieties. I honestly don't think that matters too much. My husband, when he makes it, he just throws a pinch of kosher salt in there, and I'm like, it's not gonna hurt you. You're certainly getting the sodium, but it's like very salty. Anyways, it's a delicious and refreshing drink. Getting those electrolytes in naturally. I like to think of it as kind of a natural version of Gatorade. And another great thing you can do is add a scoop of collagen. Say you're gonna eat this in isolation, so not following or immediately before a meal. I'll add a little bit of collagen, and sometimes I'll take this as like a post-workout drink, just a little hack I have for myself to make sure I am replenishing my electrolytes, getting a little protein and some carbohydrates after I work out. Number 4 are going to be eggs, specifically cage-free, ideally pasture-raised. I know those get expensive. I certainly do not get pasture-raised eggs every time, but just a high-quality egg. And again, this is nothing fancy, but eggs are a fantastic source of choline. And choline is something, it's a nutrient that is vital to both brain and liver function. So they're great for that. They also provide a really wonderful balance of fat and protein. And I know someone's gonna say it, so I just have to take a second to address this idea that eating eggs is somehow going to negatively affect your cholesterol. Yes, eggs contain cholesterol. However, numerous studies have recently shown that the amount of cholesterol you eat does not directly affect the amount of cholesterol in your blood. That's all I'm gonna say. On the topic of eggs though, lastly, I love just throwing them on some toast, eating them however I can. Whatever, that's pretty obvious. Lastly, officially, I got a couple bonus points, but lastly is gonna be whole milk. And I know this is the most controversial probably of the things on this list. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I still don't know exactly how I feel about dairy. Like, I am still trying to figure it out. There was a long time where I was just completely not doing dairy, doing oat milk, doing almond milk, anything like that. And also because my husband is legitimately lactose intolerant, that kind of adds to it, is like he can't have dairy on a regular basis, so we'll use alternatives. But as I've been getting more and more into this pro-metabolic space, dairy is a pretty unique source of vitamin A, and I know you're gonna say, but sweet potatoes and carrots. Yes, sweet potatoes and carrots and many fruits and vegetables are high in vitamin A, but they are high in the beta-carotene form of vitamin A, which is important, but which is much more readily available and not as, again, I might be getting this incorrect, but I believe beta-carotene is not as bioavailable as the other form, which is going to be retinol. That's probably something you've heard of in terms of its topical applications, but it's also very important when it comes to something you're going to ingest, and that's more found in animal foods, specifically in dairy and in liver. And we could talk all about liver, y'all. I am still trying to get there. I really want to get there. I had a very terrible kitchen experience attempting to make some liver pate, and I just need to like buck up and figure out another way to get it in my diet. That being said, milk is a good source of vitamin A, but when we are drinking milk, it's not just about, oh, whatever you can find on the shelf. We do need to pay attention to sourcing, and I probably am not the best person to talk about this, but ideally, and I can say this confidently, ideally we're going to be finding some source of raw milk, but granted, that's really difficult. I know in my state, in North Carolina, it is illegal to sell raw milk for human consumption. So really all I can find is pasteurized milk. And then you have a hierarchy where you're looking first and foremost for, what's the word I'm looking for, like grass-fed dairy. I know one brand that's recommended, or like the title on it is like the brown cow, and it's the grass milk. That's been recommended really highly. Kind of the thing you're looking to avoid is going to be milk that has any additives in it, so even vitamin D that is added. I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't feel like I'm an expert on discussing why that is the case, just what I've learned. Again, highly encourage you to check out the resources from actual dietitians, nutritionists in the description box below to learn more. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I've just been doing 1 serving of milk, I would say, in my latte in the morning, kind of getting a little more protein, getting some carbohydrates in there, and it's been working really well for me. Also, goat's milk is a great option if cow's milk is irritating to you. A lot of people can handle it better. I know Samuel, my husband, can eat goat's milk totally fine, but cow's milk really upsets his stomach. So if you go to Trader Joe's, there's this goat's milk Gouda that we love, great for snacking, a cheddar as well. And plenty of wonderful options. But I do want to throw in one more thing, and I have to grab it from right over here. This is not something I eat, but this is a purchase I recently made. Again, going back to those macro minerals, magnesium is one of them. And the really cool thing about magnesium is that you can apply it topically and it will still absorb into your body and you will get the nutrient as you need it. So it's difficult to get magnesium through food. You can get it in cacao and in, I think, avocados, and there are a number of foods that are pretty rich in it. However, just given, if I'm understanding correctly, the nutrient content of our soil and things like that, it's difficult to get what would be optimal. So I invested in this, it's called Spray Away the Pain. I do not know about this brand confidently enough to really say go get it, but I think Astura is what it is. It's really just magnesium chloride and water. Epsom salt baths are also great, and I know like Ancient Minerals does a magnesium spray that is very well recommended, but bottom line is just magnesium chloride and water. So I feel like it's hard to mess it up. This is great for muscle pain, aches, but also again to get more of it into your system overall. Okay, that was a lot. I hope that this was of some help. Gave a little bit of insight into like how pro-metabolic eating can work for different people. Like, it doesn't have to be this big crazy thing. It's just a matter of building your diet, I would say, around some like foundational principles of prioritizing your mineral, prioritizing what minerals you're getting and how you're getting them and the bioavailability of them, and balancing your blood sugar, which is my biggest thing. So I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me know what you'd like to see if you're kind of interested in this pro-metabolic realm, because I'm definitely really digging it, learning more about it. But okay, I'm gonna go. Bye.